is okay. There's this progress of going nowhere, but having a completely different experience when we let go into presence. Can we agree with that? Is that true for you? Okay, I'm seeing mostly nodding. So we can play with it in our meditations. And how many of you find that you still, well, let's see, show of hands, who has it down perfectly to just be living as presence 24/7? Okay, me neither. So this is the fun dance of life, right? Is we know what we are and we know how to let ourselves let go into the truth of what we are. Presence in God, consciousness in God, whatever labels you want to use. Is it too close or too far away from my mouth? Okay. All right. What? It's not my fault. um, So, and witnessing body sensations is only one way. I'm sure if we went around the room, everybody would have at least a couple ways that they find useful to let go into presence, and they would have different ways of describing it or explaining it. But I want to play with how can we bring it into our lives more? How can we bring it into just the day to keep tapping in, not instead of our meditation practice and our prayer practice, but to support ourselves in continuing to tap in and perhaps helping ourselves let go into that space, even in our meditation, more quickly, because the mind keeps saying, if there's a lot of mind activity going, that I have to make that stop before I can have peace, before I can experience peace, love, joy, clarity, light, all those other yummy frequencies that are part of what we are and part of the experience of presence. But it's always just right here. And it's really not a doing something. There are lots of tools and practices that are useful, but it's really not a doing something that allows our conscious experience of presence. And I'm saying it that way because presence is always here. And there's an aspect of us that is always in the experience of presence and is witnessing whatever else we're doing and has no problem with it. There's no judgment from spirit, from presence, when we're engaging in ego, mind, and stories and making ourselves miserable and suffer a lot. There's no judgment. There's no problem with that. It doesn't change what we are. But life is a lot more fun. There is just more experience of love, joy, peace, clarity, the more we let ourselves let go into it. So it's less of a doing and more of just interrupting the habit of doing, the habit of engaging in whatever the mind is spewing. So I want to give you a practical little exercise that I really like. And some of you will be familiar with at least part of it, and some of you the whole thing. But there's an exercise of just touching thumb to fingertip. And I'm starting with my little finger. And we'll use a phrase that I'll talk about in a moment. And then you can go to, when you repeat the phrase, you can go to the next fingertip. So this is used in different traditions as a way to count often. But we're not going to be focusing on counting. We're just going to use this subtle physical movement and sensation to help us just stay present and to help us embody and really take in more deeply the phrases. So we'll just go much slower than this, but one fingertip at a time. And then we'll either start again on the same hand or you can switch to the other hand. So can we accept that all our experiences, not everything that happens in the world, we don't have control over that, but can we accept that all our experiences, what we experience, what we take from what's happening, how it feels to us, is based on us? So the more we really deepen our relationship with ourselves and the divine, so whatever your word is for the divine, the more we deepen that, the more we increase that experience of love. Does it make sense that that's then going to, that's what's radiating out into the world, and then that's partly impacting what is coming into us, what's coming back to us from the world. But can you see how it also even more powerfully completely transforms how we're seeing what's coming? Making sense? Okay. So the phrases that I love, that I've been playing with and giving to my spirit coaching clients and students to play with, are, thank you, God, I love you, God. And so I'm going to have you put your own word in. So don't go to your head for the right word for the divine for you. What's the word that softens your heart, that opens your heart, where you really feel that presence, that connection? And so just know it. And maybe something is coming in for you right now that's not what your mind would have assumed. If that's the case, I suggest go with that for right now. It's going to say, thank you, God. I love you, God. And then thank you. I'm going way faster than we will. Thank you. I'm going to say Amrito. I love you, Amrito. You are going to say your own name, your first name. So let's practice this out loud together. Is this okay for you guys? Okay. Let's practice this out loud together. And so again, I'm going to be saying the word God, probably. You use the word that connects for you, that opens your heart. And you say, of course, your own name when we get to that part. All right. And I'm going to, at different times, hold my hand up in the air to bring more attention to it. But you have your hand wherever is comfortable for you. Okay. Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. Next finger. Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Marty. I love you, Marty.
Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito.
Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Juliet. I love you, Juliet.
Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito.
Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you.
Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. And take it to silence now, silently repeating it in your heart. Really feeling it in your heart and in your body. Maybe notice if there's a difference in how it feels when you're saying it to God and when you're saying your own name. And if there is, just notice that and see if you can notice what's happening differently within you in the one that feels deeper, more loving. And see if you can gently allow the other one to match it. Good. Good. And I invite you to let your eyes open as you continue silently. And I invite you to stand up as you continue. And just walk around a little bit and really show yourself how you can still rest as presence and move your body. Thank you, God. I love you, God. Thank you, Amrito. I love you, Amrito. And come on back. So as you're coming back, you can continue. But I'd like to check in. So you finding that this isn't really a fair test because you weren't probably particularly stressed out or distracted when we started. But can you feel how quickly that helps you let go? And are you finding those phrases have an impact? Okay. All right. Good. So one of the things I love about this is that it has that physical piece that seems to be so helpful to actually just get out of our heads. Because the truth is, any meditation technique or practice or prayer can very easily be taken over by the ego mind, where it's just thinking about it, playing with stories about it, rather than actually being in the experience of it. And so I love practices. I find them really fruitful that include a physical component. Not to exclude practices that don't, but one of the ways that I love to use this is at the beginning of a meditation. To just much more quickly, just, okay, here I am, and here's love, and here I am. The other thing I love about it is because it's such a small movement, I've been doing crazy stuff like this, but you can just do it like this. And it's very unlikely that anyone else would notice what you're doing, especially if you're saying the mantras silently. So it becomes a fun tool that you can take with you into your day. Now, if you're doing something that requires both hands, then of course you can continue with the mantra and just keep bringing awareness to the sensations in your body. And then if you have a hand free, then come back to this or not. But I find because it's so readily accessible and easy, and it has these different components to it, has the words, it has the conscious focus on the divine, on love, and the physical, all that helps really let go into presence. And so again, can you just witness the sounds of the sirens without going out there to them, without engaging in the stories? Like really even the label siren, it's not needed. Yeah, sounds, just sounds passing by. So it can be, as I said, a wonderful beginning to a meditation. It can be a standalone meditation. It can be a beautiful way to just kind of reset and regroup during your day, as a kind of a proactive, like I don't need to wait until I'm stressed out to use it. I can just, oh, I'm already feeling great. And yes, even more. And it's also, of course, it's a fantastic pattern interrupt if you are feeling stressed, which I never feel stressed. She lied. It's a wonderful pattern interrupt because the mind's going to keep offering the bait. And we all, I know I do, have strong habits of biting whatever bait is offered and getting caught in it. But we're not really caught because the mind doesn't have that power. The bait doesn't have the power. We have the power. And we get to choose in every moment, and we can choose again to let go into presence and the love that's already here and the divinity that's here in our fingertips and throughout all that is. So I encourage you to play with that this week and just keep giving yourself the love, the presence, the ease, and notice how it's affecting how, not just how you're experiencing yourself, but how you're experiencing what's going on in your day and in the world. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love things that are very practical. I want to get into doing that. I think a walking meditation with that would be wonderful. So will we be able to see our friends on Zoom and connect and say hello? Hello, everybody. Great group. Happy to see you. Heart back at you. Yay. Thank you.